situations like this. Lots of sticky notes. I make them write sticky notes all the time. So I'm going to read to you from a book of poems. My book is called Newfoundland. I'm from Newfoundland in Canada, which is the easternmost province. We have our own time zone. We're like 30 minutes off Nova Scotia. So it's like a half hour later in Newfoundland. That's a big Canadian joke. So I'm going to read a few poems from the first part and then 2 poems from the second part. I tried to time myself at 5 minutes, so we'll see how I do. I'm going to start today with a poem from the first part, which is called Perfect World. And I start with a poem called Narwhal. And the poem has a bit of a backstory. I'm from a town called Springdale in Notre Dame Bay, and the smaller bay, which was right outside my parents' door, was called Hulls Bay. And Hulls Bay froze in solid in the wintertime. And we had a quick freeze one winter, and several whales were trapped in the bay. And they could not swim out into the larger ocean. And so it became problematic because they needed to breathe. All mammals do. And so it fell to the people of the town to keep a breathing hole open for the whales. So it became a bit of a biology study for us kids too, because we always skated on the bay. And I remember as a little girl putting on my skates and going out to this hole in the ocean and watching the whales come up for air. And the one that really impressed me was the narwhal. And this is narwhal. Hulls Bay is a china plate. I skate far out to the breathing hole, where the men chop the ice away. The echo of auger and axe grapples the lip of hills. They are building a lung for whales, a pair of humpbacks, a narwhal, surfacing through the slush. The little narwhal lingers, mottled back steaming, its eye oily in the dark cup, me mirrored in the eye slick, the horn spiraling into brittle air. Next poem is called Listen. I'm a high school English teacher. I've worked with kids all my life. This poem really has its sort of roots in fairy tale, but also in that sort of danger that kids kind of skirt when they're left to their own devices as well. Listen. All children want the treasures hidden. I'm sorry, let me start again. Listen. All children want the treasures blooming under rocks and wedged like blades in the tree bark. Their little red hoods weave through the canopy of leaves like wind-blown poppies. All children lie and scream about wolves. At the very instance grown-ups tire, turn away, the sharp-toothed maw clamps down. They tell us, don't play with matches, and we strike the match, become proverb, become smoke. My next poem is called Traveling Circus. This one is about an actual traveling circus that would sometimes visit my little town, Traveling Circus. I paid my 50 cents, placed my palm in the trainer's leathered grip, was lifted high, the gridded flank, the saddle box lined with Chinese brocade, blossoms, delicate satin pagodas, parasols. Lumbering on the elephant's back, I was the Saturday afternoon matinee. I was Sinbad or Scheherazade in the heat haze of August, in the far east of our country. Flesh dark and muffled beneath the tasseled cloths, the elephant staked its ownership of the glacial sand, recalling mammoths perhaps in that shifted geography, that subarctic pilgrimage from village to village. The smell of dung is always that, anywhere, and the children always come. Oh, the elephant's knees, its immigrant bones. Now I'm going to move into the second part of the poetry book. This is called Exile. And the first poem I'll read here is called Exposure. They say when you become cold enough, your body pretends it has slipped into your mother's bed, and you are looking anew at the slatted wood ceiling, The curtains wave like exotic finches, bright yellow apparitions you do not fear. They wing through the lilacs of the wallpaper. You dream of the beginning of things and the race to be four-legged and velvety and master of every season, the days retreating beyond all saving grace. Your mouth opens without words, a hollow hinge. Your skin forgets it is cold, and you are happy again. And my final poem today is the title of the book, Newfound Land. The sea is 10,000 bright occurrences. Tides rise up and ice, call and reply. History falls away, first light recalled, dimming. This is where to shake off sorrow like dust along a track of hills, risen like a sleeper's hip, dark water slipping. Gannets with their golden crowns lie down, steeped in forgiveness. High tides rise too high, ribs of skiffs jut like cathedrals. It is very late for the earth. Whales squint like shadows. On sea, what has been seen, the abundant view. There's frost on their lids. They dream of beach plums, the winter beach strewn blue with mussels sucked dry. In the beginning, Conception Bay was gold in the soft belly of kelp. There were green rocks smoothed and thrown to oval, and squids full of circular scars. Whales slid like the size of Armageddon that reeked of dying. Whales did not invent this, but here they are, their backs all blade and anarchy, gunnel to gunnel. The body of a world that never sees the sun. Thank you, Carol.
I have a question. What do you hope this book of poems can impart to readers?
That's an interesting question. I think I've been thinking a lot about the immigrant experience here in the United States, and I think I'd like to think of us as a nation of immigrants. I'm an immigrant. Many of my students are immigrants, recent immigrants, or they're the grandchildren of immigrants, and so on. I hope that this book can help people see that we're all telling this human story, and the story of immigration is very, very much ingrained in the story of what it is to be here in this country.
Can you just describe a little more how the harbor would freeze, and like how trapped were the whales, or did they just come into a frozen area so they needed a spot to breathe but they could go back out to the sea?
They couldn't go out. So the northeast coast of Newfoundland is, it's right there in the Labrador Current. We get frozen in the spring. It's all icebergs. You can see the iceberg on the book. But they actually got frozen in solid. They could not get out to open ocean. There was no place to breathe for them to get out to open ocean. So the call went out to the Canadian Coast Guard to bring in an ice cutter that could come in and clear a pathway for the whales to get out. So I think it was about a month that we kept the ice open for the whales. We actually had to then bring food to them and so on as well. So there was also that happening. But one of the great things that did happen too is that the scientists from Memorial University of Newfoundland came out and they were studying the whales, because it was a sort of a natural place where they had these amazing whales. There were humpbacks and a narwhal, and they could do all kinds of like study and test, and they were like recording them, and they set up this huge sort of interpretation center at the local high school. I remember as a little kid going there and sort of learning about the whales as well. So it was quite an education for the community. But yeah, so no, they couldn't get out. We had to wait for the Coast Guard cutter to come in and clear the icebreaker to come in.
And that was just one time, 1 year then?
That was 1 year that the whales got trapped. Yeah, it wasn't a common occurrence. No, it wasn't.
Did they all survive?
They think that the narwhal survived. They think that, but I think there was, Sean, was it one humpback?
One humpback died
One
before
humpback
the
died.
3 and before they cut the hole, yeah.
Yeah, so we did lose one.
And you know, that line is so, the line for whales is just a great line.
Yeah, thank you.